Girls, you are welcome to our English lesson. In today's lesson, I want to start with a simple song. I'm going to sing it, and once I sing it, listen very well and notice in which tense have I sung the song. Okay? I eat every day. I ate yesterday. I shall eat food the following day. I eat food every day. I ate food yesterday. I shall eat food the following day. Now, girls, I've used the 3 sentences. The first one was, I eat food every day. Which tense is that one? Which tense is that one? Yes, Annabelle. Very good. She has said present simple tense. Then the second one was, I ate food yesterday. What tense is that? Chisache. Good. She has said past tense. And now in today's lesson, we are going to look at future tense. Future. That is the word future tense. In future tense, before we continue with that future tense, let us read these words. We have been looking at them in our previous lessons. Read these words. They are very simple words, so I've been reading them, and I know you can read them even if I have not guided you. You've got that one? We've got that one. Those are the words I want to read first, and then we continue. This one is graze. Graze. Build. Build. Plant. Plant. Cut. Cut. Cover. Cover. Bricks. Bricks. Make. Plastic. We've already looked at those words, and I know girls, you know these words. We are going to use these words in our lesson. Now let us go back to the future tense. When we are talking about future tense, we talk about the things that are to come. We have not yet done the action, but we hope to do that action. So, when we are in future tense, we have got the words that must be there. One of them is will. Will. And then another one is shall. These ones, we are going to use them as our helping verbs. And then there are even these words that are commonly used in future tense. We've got the word tomorrow, because I've said that when we are in future tense, the action is not yet done, but we hope to do that action. Okay? Then we have got the next one is next. This may be next Tuesday, next week, next month, or next year. So we use these words, but we've got the helping verbs. How do we use these words when we are talking in future? We've got the word, we've got I. That is when I'm talking about myself. And then we have got we. Here, you are talking about self. I, you, and we, you are part of the many friends you are having around. So when we are having these ones, we say shall. We say shall. I shall go to town tomorrow. I shall eat food next week. I shall have a party next year. We shall go to town tomorrow. Okay? So these two will use this one in future tense, shall. And then we've got other people like she. Then we have got he. We have got they, you, and it. So, when we are talking in future tense, these people will all carry will. She will come tomorrow. She will be here next year. They will come to school tomorrow. You will eat food tonight. It will eat grass. Okay? So, these words are only used in future tense. They are only used in future tense. And why did I write these words? When we are in future tense, the verb remains the same. We don't add anything like we've been doing in present simple tense and in past tense. The verb remains the same. Grace, grace. Okay? Now, what are we going to do today? Today, I want us to answer this question. What will you do when That is my question. It says, what will you do when you go home? This question, we hope that you are here with us at school. And I'm asking, if you are here at St. Theresa, there are some plans you have to do when you go home. For example, but before this, how do you answer? You say, when I go home, you put a comma, then you tell me what you will do. I shall dash. When I go home, comma, I shall dash. Then I've said that we don't put any letter to our verb. For example, if I'm the one asked, what will you do when you go home? This is my question now. They are asking me. Example 1. What will you do when you go home? Now this question is for me, the teacher, and what I hope to do is to plant flowers. This is what I'm going to do when I go away from school. I have to make a flower garden. So to answer this question in the future tense, I'm going to say, when I go home, I put a comma, I shall plant flowers. That is my answer. When I go home, I shall plant flowers. Question number 2. I'll be giving you what to do. What will you do when you go home? What will you do when you go home? I said that this question, we hope that you are with us now here at school. What will you do when you go home? Okay, let me guide you. Plant trees. Plant trees. Girls, who wants to try this? What will you do when you go home? Remember, I'm saying you are talking about yourself. You are talking about yourself. What will you do? I want you to start with, when I go home, then you use these words in the bracket. Yes? Anyone to give me the answer? Yes, Gladys. Gladys, speak up. Very good. Shall say that when I go home, when I go home, put a comma, I shall plant trees. Now this one is the last question for you to try. What will you do when you go home? What will will you do when you go home? Ready? Isabella. Oh, I have not put the word to use. Thank you, thank you. Okay, burn rubbish. Burn rubbish. Thank you for reminding the teacher. Very good. Now, this is our question and they've given us what to use. What will you do when you go home? Isabella has reminded me, teacher, what to use? I've put burn rubbish. Now, can you give me the answer? Can you give me the answer? Yes, Annabelle? Annabelle? Good. Shall say that when I go home, comma, I shall burn rubbish. Okay. Now, here we can also use we. Because we have said we can use shall with I and we. If you are many, you don't say I, you say we. For example, I can say, if I'm with the teacher Anne, I say, when we go home, we shall plant flowers. When we go home, we shall plant trees. When we go home, we shall burn rubbish. So it depends how many you are. But when you are part of that family, when you are part of that group, you say we. When you are one, you say I. Okay? So, let us read it through, and after this, you shall do an activity. We have started using future tense, and I've said in future tense, we have to see these words, will and shall. Then we have tomorrow and next. I've said that I and we take shall. She, he, they, you, and it will take will. This is our structure I've used. What will you do when you go home? And I've said, when I go home, I shall. The examples we've given. What will you do when you go home? What will you do when you go home? I missed you here, sorry for that. Then I've said, plant flowers. When I go home, I shall plant flowers. What will you do when you go home? Plant trees. When I go home, I shall plant trees. What will you do when you go home? Burn rubbish. When I go home, I shall burn rubbish. So, from this work, I've given you an activity to do at home. Thank you very much for being good girls. Thank you for listening to me.